Look at your phone for a second. Now imagine if every distraction disappeared. In a world where everyone is scattered, the one who can focus becomes unstoppable. Focus is no longer a skill, it's a superpower. We live in the loudest generation in history. Notifications pull us apart, opinions distract us, and fear keeps us busy but not productive. Yet history shows us this truth. Real progress is made by those who can commit their attention to one purpose. Focus is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary outcomes. And today, we reclaim that power. When you truly focus, the fog in your mind begins to lift. Confusion is not a lack of intelligence, it is usually a lack of direction. Most people feel overwhelmed not because they are incapable, but because their attention is divided in too many directions at once. They chase every opportunity, listen to every opinion, and react to every distraction. Focus changes that. Focus brings order to chaos. The moment you commit your attention to one meaningful goal, your mind starts to work with you instead of against you. Focus allows you to separate what is important from what is merely urgent. Not everything that demands your attention deserves it. When your focus is scattered, every problem feels equally loud. But when your focus is clear, priorities reveal themselves. You begin to understand where your energy should go and, just as importantly, where it should not. This is how clarity is born, not through overthinking, but through intentional attention. Barack Obama often spoke about leadership as the ability to see clearly in difficult moments. Leadership is not about knowing everything, it is about knowing what matters most when everything feels uncertain. Focus is what gives you that power. When you focus, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding purposefully. You stop being driven by fear, comparison, or pressure, and you start being guided by values and vision. That is the difference between motion and progress. Without focus, effort becomes wasted movement. You work hard, but you don't move forward. With focus, even small actions gain meaning. A focused mind turns simple daily habits into long-term transformation. 1 hour of focused work is worth more than 10 hours of distracted effort. That is how clarity compounds over time. You begin to see patterns, opportunities, and solutions that were invisible when your mind was scattered. Focus also quiets the noise of external validation. When you know what you are working toward, opinions lose their power over you. You no longer need approval from everyone because your purpose becomes your compass. This clarity builds inner confidence. You walk differently. You decide differently. You speak with intention instead of hesitation. As Obama's journey showed, clarity of purpose can carry you through criticism, doubt, and uncertainty without losing your direction. Most importantly, focus helps you build something real. When you chase everything, you build nothing. But when you commit to one path, one vision, one mission, you begin to create impact. Clarity turns ideas into plans. Plans turn into action. Action turns into results, and results reinforce belief. In a world designed to distract you, choosing focus is an act of leadership. It is a declaration that your life has direction, that your time has value, and that your energy will not be wasted. When you focus, confusion fades, not because life becomes easier, but because your mind becomes stronger. And with clarity comes the power to move forward with confidence, purpose, and unstoppable momentum. Distraction is not harmless. It slowly robs you of the very thing that could change your life, your potential. Every notification, every unnecessary conversation, every moment of mindless scrolling may seem small, but together they drain your energy, your creativity, and your ability to do meaningful work. Greatness does not disappear all at once. It fades through 1,000 tiny interruptions. What you give your attention to is what you give your life to, and distraction is always asking for more than it deserves. The modern world celebrates multitasking, but history tells a different story. The greatest achievements were not built by divided minds jumping from one thing to another. They were built by people who could sit with one problem, one vision, one mission, and give it their full attention. Disciplined focus is not about doing more things, it is about doing the right things with intention. When your attention is scattered, your effort weakens. When your attention is disciplined, your effort becomes powerful. Distraction trains your mind to avoid depth. It keeps you busy but not effective. You start many things and finish few. You consume more than you create. Over time, this weakens self-trust. You begin to doubt your ability to commit, to persist, to endure difficulty. That is why distraction is so dangerous. It doesn't just waste time, it reshapes your character. It makes shallow effort feel normal and deep work feel uncomfortable. Barack Obama often spoke about the importance of staying grounded amid constant noise. Leadership, especially in moments of crisis, demands the ability to tune out distractions and focus on what truly matters. The same principle applies to your personal life. If you allow every external voice to pull you in a new direction, you will never move far in any one direction. Progress requires sacrifice, and one of the greatest sacrifices is the comfort of constant stimulation. Protecting your focus is an act of self-respect. Just as a nation guards its borders to protect its freedom, you must guard your attention to protect your future. Not every message deserves an immediate response. Not every opportunity deserves a yes. Boundaries are not limitations, they are defenses. They preserve your energy for the work that truly matters. When you set these boundaries, you reclaim control over your time and your mind. Greatness demands presence. It demands the courage to be fully engaged even when it feels uncomfortable or boring. It asks you to resist the urge for instant gratification in favor of long-term growth. When you learn to sit with difficulty without escaping into distraction, you build mental strength. That strength becomes discipline, and discipline over time becomes excellence. Distraction will always exist. The question is not whether the world will try to pull you apart, but whether you will allow it. Choose to focus. Choose depth over noise. Choose disciplined attention over scattered effort. Because greatness is not built in moments of excitement. It is built in moments of unwavering focus, when you decide that your purpose is worth more than your distractions.
Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build. And one of the strongest builders of confidence is focus. When you focus, you give yourself the chance to finish what you start. Completion matters more than motivation because every finished task sends a powerful message to your mind. I can be trusted. That message, repeated over time, becomes confidence. Not loud confidence, but quiet, unshakable belief in your own ability to follow through. Many people struggle with self-doubt not because they lack talent, but because they lack momentum. They start strong, get distracted, and stop halfway. Each unfinished goal chips away at their belief. Focus changes this pattern. When your attention is disciplined, your actions become consistent. You stop jumping from one idea to another and begin moving in one direction. Even small wins begin to stack up, and those wins matter. They prove to you that progress is possible. Focus creates momentum because it keeps you moving forward, step by step. Momentum is powerful. It reduces resistance, strengthens habits, and makes effort feel lighter. When you see yourself making progress, even slowly, your belief grows. You no longer rely on external validation or temporary motivation. You start believing in your own process. That belief fuels further action, creating a cycle where focus leads to momentum, momentum leads to belief, and belief leads to growth. Barack Obama's leadership demonstrated this truth on a massive scale. His message of belief did not come from empty optimism. It was rooted in disciplined effort and consistent action. Before millions believed in him, he believed in the process. He showed up, stayed focused, and kept moving forward despite doubt, criticism, and setbacks. That steady focus built credibility, and that credibility built confidence, not just in himself, but in the people who followed him. Belief, when grounded in action, becomes contagious. Focus also strengthens confidence by reducing overwhelm. When your attention is scattered, everything feels heavy. Doubt grows because nothing feels under control. But when you focus on one task at a time, the load becomes manageable. You stop worrying about everything you haven't done and start appreciating what you are doing. This shift changes how you see yourself. You move from feeling behind to feeling capable, and capability is the foundation of confidence. As confidence grows, fear loses its grip. You stop hesitating and start deciding. You speak with more clarity. You take responsibility for your choices. Focus teaches you that progress doesn't require perfection, only commitment. Each time you choose focus over distraction, you reinforce your self-trust. You prove that you can stay the course even when it's uncomfortable. In the end, confidence is built in private moments of focus long before it is seen in public success. It grows when you keep your word to yourself. Finish the task, complete the step, stay focused. Because when you trust yourself, you move differently. And when belief is strong, it doesn't just change your life, it has the power to inspire and move others, just as it did in history. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Focus is not something that magically appears when conditions are perfect. It is a decision made again and again, often in moments when distraction feels easier than discipline. Many people wait to feel focused, but focus doesn't come from feelings, it comes from choice. You don't find focus in the environment around you, you create it through the decisions you make about what deserves your attention. The moment you understand this, you take back control of your life. Every day, you are choosing what gets your time, your energy, and your heart, whether you realize it or not. When you choose comfort, you choose ease, distraction, and short-term pleasure. When you choose purpose, you choose growth, responsibility, and long-term impact. Focus lives in that choice. It shows up when you decide to work while others rest, to learn while others scroll, and to commit while others drift. These choices may seem small, but they shape your future. Choosing focus often means saying no. No to unnecessary noise. No to constant availability. No to habits that steal your attention without giving anything back. This can feel uncomfortable, especially in a world that rewards instant response and constant stimulation. But discomfort is not a sign you are doing something wrong. It is often a sign you are doing something meaningful. Focus demands sacrifice, and sacrifice is the price of purpose. Barack Obama's leadership reflected this truth clearly. Progress, as he often emphasized, does not come from waiting. It comes from deciding. Change begins when people choose to stand for something greater than their comfort or fear. Focus works the same way. You don't wait for the perfect moment to act. You decide that this moment is enough. That decision is powerful because it shifts you from passive to intentional, from reactive to responsible. When focus becomes a choice, discipline becomes easier. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop asking whether you should do the work and start asking how you will do it well. This mental shift builds strength. Each time you choose purpose over comfort, you reinforce your identity as someone who takes responsibility for their direction. Over time, this identity becomes self-sustaining. Focus stops feeling forced and starts feeling natural. Choosing focus also brings clarity and peace. When you commit to what matters most, mental clutter fades. You no longer feel pulled in every direction because you have decided where you were going. This doesn't eliminate challenges, but it gives you a compass. Even on difficult days, you know why you are showing up. That sense of purpose fuels resilience and keeps you moving forward. Change always begins with a decision. Not tomorrow, not when conditions improve, now. Focus is the choice to honor your potential over your comfort, your future over your distractions, and your purpose over your excuses. Each time you make that choice, you shape the person you are becoming. And over time, those choices don't just change your habits, they change your life. A vision without focus is only a wish. Many people have dreams, ideas, and goals, but very few turn them into reality because they lack sustained attention. Dreams feel exciting, but excitement alone does not build anything lasting. Focus is what gives vision weight. It transforms imagination into intention, and intention into consistent action. Without focus, that same vision remains trapped in the mind. With focus, that same vision begins to take shape in the real world. Focus turns vision into action by narrowing your attention to what truly matters. When your mind is scattered, your effort is scattered. You may work hard, but your work lacks direction. Focus aligns your daily actions with your long-term goals. It answers a simple but powerful question every day. What is the next right step? When you consistently take that step, progress becomes inevitable. Vision stops being something you talk about and starts becoming something you live. Barack Obama's legacy reminds us that meaningful change is never accidental. It is the result of focused commitment to a clear vision sustained over time. Change did not happen because the journey was easy, but because focus made perseverance possible. Staying focused through setbacks, criticism, and uncertainty is what separates intention from impact. Vision demands endurance, and endurance is built through disciplined attention. Focused action also builds credibility. When you consistently act on your vision, people begin to trust you. Trust turns into influence, and influence turns into impact. This is how individual effort grows into collective movement. Legacy is not created in moments of inspiration, but in years of consistent, focused action. What you repeat becomes what you are remembered for. Staying focused is not always comfortable. There will be days when distractions feel more appealing than discipline. There will be moments when progress feels slow and doubt feels loud. Focus asks you to continue anyway, not because it feels good, but because it is necessary. Necessity gives focus its power. It anchors you when motivation fades and keeps you moving when enthusiasm disappears. Focus also protects your vision from being diluted. Without it, you chase too many paths and lose depth. With it, you build strength in one direction. Depth creates mastery, and mastery creates results. Over time, those results reinforce belief, and belief fuels further action. This cycle turns vision into momentum, and momentum into legacy. In the end, reality is shaped by what you consistently pay attention to. Dreams stay dreams when attention is scattered. Vision becomes reality when attention is disciplined. Focus is the bridge between who you are now and who you are meant to become. Stay focused, not because the journey is easy, but because your vision deserves the effort. What you choose to focus on today becomes the legacy you leave tomorrow. In a distracted world, be the one who sees clearly. Be the one who stays the course, because focus isn't just your advantage, it's your superpower. And yes, change starts with you.